Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's Q&A. As always, we have gotten some incredible questions from you all, and we cannot wait to dive deep because this goes very deep and it's so related to all the work that we do, particularly on our membership platform. And so, yeah, I'm just going to jump right in and I want to hear your thoughts, Stephanie, about all this.
Okay.
One is I've been working the modules and I have noticed that a lot of grief has come up, sometimes from out of nowhere. Is this normal?
Short answer,
Yep.
yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Yeah. Um, well, first of all, I have to say bravo because you really are doing the work if the grief is coming up. That is
Yes.
almost like evidence that you
Yes.
actually are doing the work. So not only is this normal, um, is this expected? Yes.
Absolutely.
When we start
Absolutely.
digging in to these things, um, all of the stuff that's buried in us will start emerging. And wait, Elisa, you said part of that question was from out of nowhere? Is that?
Yeah.
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 Oh,
Sometimes from out of nowhere.
okay, so it's actually not from out of nowhere. Everything is connected, everything is interconnected. So it might feel like, well, I wasn't even working on this and it just came up. It was some random memory. Because everything is connected in us, um, nothing actually is random when it's coming up, especially grief when we're processing. Let's say, like you feel like it's random because you're working on one issue, but then the grief about another seemingly unrelated issue comes up. Everything is interconnected. And I would say, yes, bravo, doing the work and keep going. We're here to support you if something comes up that you don't know what to do with. That's
Mhm.
what we're here for. So reach out to us on the platform, on our DMs, wherever it is that you are. If you're a member, obviously you're a member if you're doing the work. So reach out to us in those moments if you've got the Voxer support.
Mhm.
Hey, this thing came up, grief about this thing, and if you need the extra, support, we can help you with that.
Yeah.
Because that question wasn't specific, that's really what I've got on it. But that this
Absolutely.
is absolutely normal. Everything is connected, and so when random things come up, just if you even normalize them immediately in your mind, because actually what can start happening is grief comes up and then you start thinking there's something wrong with you or this isn't a normal kind of reaction. And then
Yeah.
you start judging that. And then that in and of itself becomes a thing. So just know anything that comes up, even if it's seemingly unrelated, it is normal. And so just kind of like normalize it to yourself. And then if you need help processing that, being with it, reach out to us.
Absolutely.
Elisa, what would you say about
Yeah.
that?
Everything you said, absolutely 1000%. I think when it comes to grief as a society in general, we emphasize so much that grief is about a person dying.
Mm,
And
right.
grief is so much more than that. I mean, when we grieve loss. We grieve the loss of moments that didn't
Hmm.
happen. We grieve the loss of developments that didn't occur. We
Mm,
grieve the loss of connecting internally and externally. There's so many things
mm.
that grief can come from. And we
Ooh,
hear,
and you know what? Can I just insert
yeah,
one there? We grieve the selves that we are evolving out of as well.
yes,
So if you do feel this grief, some of it could be for the old self, even if it was maladaptive or these old behaviors or thoughts, even though they were maladaptive, there is some grief that needs to happen because it was part of you and it functioned
exactly.
as part of you for a while. So, okay, sorry, I didn't mean to
Totally. No,
cut
no,
you
that
off.
is so
Yeah.
relevant. And I think
Hmm.
that part of the resistance that comes with this work is because of exactly what you just expressed.
Hmm.
You know, the part of us that is maladaptive, that is, causing a lot of trouble or saying a lot of critical things, those parts think they don't have a role if you heal. And
Hmm.
oftentimes we go deeper into dialoguing with them and almost finding them a different role in some way. Not really a different role, but finding them
Right.
a different way of being in your psyche.
Hmm.
So there's definitely a lot of grief with that. And I think in general, with the work that we do, people start discovering parts of themselves, start discovering a lot of aspects of their psyche, and a lot of parts. Some people say that the reaction is, where have you been all this time?
Right, right.
Especially with the inner child, there's all that grief of, I have been waiting for you. I have been waiting for my parent, my real parent. I mean,
Yeah,
real doesn't mean anything, but the idea that
right,
when we reparent ourselves, the adult self is the parent, becomes
right.
truly the real parent. So there's a lot to navigate through. And like you said, Stephanie, all of this is normal. It's not easy. It's
Hmm.
not easy and needs to be taken at your own pace, but it's absolutely normal.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, bravo to you because you're doing the work. All of you,
Hmm.
you're being so brave.
Hmm.
Thank you for being so brave.
Hmm.
And the next question that we have, also very interesting. I have visualized my inner singer and found that she has a lot of anger towards me.
Mm.
I got scared and stopped the interaction. Can you help?
Mm.
Wow.
Okay, so first things first, obviously, if you don't feel safe when you're doing things like this, then good, then stop. That's,
Hmm.
if it's too much for you. Um, if it's a matter, again, going back to that first question of judging the experience, then try to unhook from that judgment. So, this is what I mean. If you're doing this interaction and you meet your singer self, you're visualizing your singer self, you're dialoguing, whatever you're doing, and then you find out she's mad at you, and then you immediately think, well, this isn't the way it should be. It
Right.
should be, she should be this, she should be that. Then you're creating a whole kind of judgment based on whatever shoulds you have, whatever. And so I offer the perspective of, um, okay, whatever comes up, just roll with it. Again, if it feels unsafe, stop and then reach out to us, like I said before. But
Yeah.
so for something like this, yeah, I, she might be mad. It's interesting because we tend to think that when we're going to get in touch with these parts of ourselves, especially the creative parts, we just think that they're going to be whatever, easygoing or lovely or but sometimes they're really angry. Sometimes they're like,
Hmm.
"Hey, you haven't been listening to me. You haven't been honoring me. You haven't been." So, my advice would be to unhook from the judgment about whatever has come up. Okay, she's angry or he's angry.
Hmm.
Or they're angry. Okay, then the next step would be, what do they have to say? I'm going
Yeah.
to honor this part. I'm not going to judge it as it shouldn't be angry. I'm going to honor this part and then I'm going to listen to what it has to say. That's where I would kind of take that next.
Yes. Yes. I think that that's absolutely great because the thought I'm having here is, yes, parts are parts of us, but at the same time they almost work like an internal family. If your friend or family member, your partner says, "Hey, I feel angry.
Hmm.
I'm angry because of something that happened here." Yes, you might feel defensive initially, but eventually you will pursue the conversation and say, "Can you please tell me what you're angry about? I want to do
Right,
something to repair."
right.
Internally it's the same thing. And sometimes, when we see this a lot with procrastination. I think the person procrastinates, they can't get to do what they need to do. And for example, if they want to sing but they're not singing,
Hmm.
the singer self is receiving the message of, "I'm not giving you what you need.
Hmm.
I'm not giving you what you need," over and over, and they start getting angry. But there's also a lot of miscommunication because you do want to sing, it's just you can't sing. And then
Right.
there's a lot of that internal stuff that starts going on. And sometimes
Hmm.
reconnecting with that part and saying, "What are you angry about? I do want to honor you. I'm just trying to figure out how." It might
Right.
put them at ease. Yeah, it's almost like couples therapy with one of your parts.
Exactly. Yeah, you could do family therapy with like just you.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think we do a lot of that. And I remember sharing with, one of our clients that I have had an experience like that with my inner singer at some point.
Hmm.
Because, the signs became, I wanted to practice, and I just wasn't getting to.
Yes.
And I thought,
Yes.
what's happening here? I mean, I don't particularly have fear about it. I don't particularly have, so what's happening? Why am I not singing? And I went
Hmm.
internally. And my inner singer said, you are taking too much of the credit for
Mm.
everything that you're doing scientifically.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the ideas that you have as a researcher come from me, from my experience, and no one is
Interesting.
honoring me about this.
Yeah,
No one is
yeah.
saying thank you for this insight that is now helping with research. The
Hmm.
inner scientist is getting all the credit, the inner singer is getting no credit, even though everything started with the inner singer. And so I literally had to have my inner scientist sit with the inner singer and say, I am so sorry. You're absolutely right. Everything that we do is because of you. Thank you.
Hmm.
Like literally acknowledge her. And that unblocked me
That is a
immediately.
great illustration of this. I mean, really kind of putting, first of all, practicing what you preach, but really putting it kind of into a narrative that like makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great illustration of that.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Like sometimes we really have to be with that dialogue, with that visualization. It's
Absolutely.
a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people out there think, oh, you can just sort of think about it in passing. No, you really have to have that conversation the same way that you would have with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
You got to
Yeah,
have the conversation for things to change internally too.
definitely. And sometimes you even need to have the conversation out loud. You need to
Yeah.
hear and speak the words
Yes.
to almost make them, I don't know, solidified or something, crystallized. Yeah.
And wait to see that that part is taking it in, see if they
Mm-hmm.
have something else to say, like really take the conversation where it needs to go. May
Right.
not be easy,
Mm-hmm.
but there will be a lot of relief.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and
Good
we're here to help
questions.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
great questions. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this is really going deep, and people really seem to be engaging with the depth.
Yeah, and again, these both of these, I would say, are um, evidence that you're doing the work. These
Yes.
things only come up when you do the work. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so
exactly.
good job.
Good job, everybody. And we're here if you need anything at all. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.